Good review in session from 5/23/17. S&P 500 ETF in long-term uptrend still, making higher highs, higher lows. The recent trend action, which is how you explained it to me in the video you made before I went off the demo, as you said, big picture trend plus the recent trend action. So I don't know if you meant like talking about just kind of the sideways action for the past couple months, or just like what the recent few days. I really think that's what you're talking about, kind of like when you had your Nvidia example. You said, okay, yeah, this is in an uptrend. They're coming off sideways consolidation. So it's kind of the same thing in the SPY. Long-term uptrend, 3 month sideways. So had rejected from all-time highs, but now trading back up near all-time highs. So big picture trend is still intact. Top two pre-market movers were Helios, HMNY. So this is a penny stock, former runner, pumper dumper. So we get a gap up. I think this is a solid setup, and when this is a top pre-market mover, you get the pre-market volume and a gap up in a weak stock that's known to be a former runner. So you could short into the pre-market high. I don't know, just some thoughts. It's not a trade that I'm looking to take right now, but definitely when you get a kind of open and spike right up into the pre-market high, like that's definitely a potential trade. Same deal in ETRM. So ETRM. So this is what you mean like a fucking real downtrend, right? Like a real downtrend. And then kind of got pumped up on this day, on these few days, like at the beginning of January, but we're just gapping up a weak stock. Had top pre-market volume. So open up, go up, spike up, take out the pre-market high, immediately reject, maybe short the first pullback. Risk to VWAP, 20 cents, and boom, there's a quick 4-to-1. So anyway, not the trades I'm focusing on now, just stuff that I'm, once I get really good at trend trading, I think I will move on to counter trend trading because, it sounds sexy to, trade right on the open to like maybe, have a nice like quick risk reward that works in your favor in like 15 to 20 minutes, and then basically once you're done taking your trend trade or your counter trend trades off the open, you can start looking for intraday trend trades. So it's a nice way to start your day, I think. But right now, obviously, the most important thing is to trend trade. So let me go over my two trades, and I'll talk about two other trades I saw. So first one, S-Power. S-Power is a solar company. So let me get rid of this. So what's the trend in S-Power? Well, we're down, kind of going sideways. So, is this kind of basing? Yeah. Are we above this, the resistance of 929? Like, no. I think that's where this real trade is going to come in, like above like 930. So I'm trying to make up some shit. I mean, we have been recently up, but basically we're trapped in this bigger sideways range. The bigger idea is, why am I expecting this to have a wide range day? I don't know. And, I think this is a really good example of I got caught up in, opening spike. So we went up, I saw the volume. I like the volume that looked, above, like there was a little bit more volume than like these few days. So I was treating this like an opening drivable flag. But I mean, like, let's be real, dude. The ATRs in these non-widest days are like 44 cents. Even on the widest range day, it's like $1. So, in my mind, I was like, okay, if this has a wide range day, it's only went up 50 cents, and maybe, this could be a flag. I still bought in way early on the flag. But, I didn't have to risk a whole lot. But then we, 1, 2, 3 tests right here, obviously found weakness. So I think this is just a better pass. Like we talked about, you talked about in your video that you just made. I'm a chaser, and I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to, the opening spike and is definitely one of those things that's getting me. I've been pretty good about not trading gap up go ups, aside from like LL last week. So yeah, just in the process of just like I don't skip on this opening spike. I ended up with like a small winner. Like I think I got like 3 cents out of it. It's like just enough to cover the cost of the transaction fees. But yeah, I mean this is not really a trade that I needed to be taking. So especially because of the opening spike. So other stock I traded HLF. So HLF defensive sector. So big picture, I mean you know, I'd say sideways. We did catch a volume gap up to like all-time highs, and then kind of just consolidating near all-time highs. So the recent trend action is we were just kind of overlapping, and so once we broke down here, I was like, okay, we kind of dojied at the bottom of this. You're thinking, volume should come in as we break below here. So as we started taking on the side, I was like, okay, sushi roll. And then we get up here and we fail, so I'm like, okay, well, sushi roll the other way. So what was my intraday setup? Well, we, kind of blast down $2.5 or $2. Open down, go down. So I didn't really want to trade that. There is a window here for the first pullback to VWAP. And you could have anticipated prior support kind of like right around there. More like right around there, I think. But whatever, just kind of saw where price kind of stopped to. This is where I had my intraday line. So we saw a place where price stopped at. So we're making lower highs into the level. So we're just kind of long sideways for a couple hours. After the failed sushi roll on the daily, kind of tight range. I put my stop, just kind of up above here. So I had to risk less than 50 cents. So I got short about 200 shares, and then, literally, dude, it was just like, bam, all of a sudden there's profitability on my day. So on this wide range bar, I just kind of took, because this was $2, right? And then so immediately, this went down $2, and you have a rule for windfall profits. So in the future, what I'll probably do is at least you got to take off half. I went out the whole thing because it was okay, just take the gift. Don't be too greedy. Excuse me for coughing, by the way. Don't be too greedy. But if you say, hey, there's weakness here, and we ended up going down another. So from where I ended up covering, going down another point. So if I take off half and set the rest to break even, I've got a free trade. I've made my profit on the free gift, so maybe that's a way I'll trade that in the future. But I just, I hit it all out then because why? We had already kind of gone down 2 points. And then the widest range day over here was $4. And this one was $3.50 or something, or ninths, or $3.30. So anyway, it was just thought we had hit the measured move objective, 1 and 2, the ATR and 400 days, but it's dude, fucking one good trade, and this is a nice intraday setup. I just had to wait for, and did it spike down off the open? Yeah, but was I trading it immediately? Would the first pullback in VWAP work? Sure, but this is definitely a high probability setup that I do not have a problem pulling the trigger on, and no shit, it works. So 2 other trades, J Nugget. So J Nugget, Gold Miners ETF. I'm going to call this, a recent downtrend because we did come off uptrend here, but since September, we've been making lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. This recent lower lows. So, what's the setup? Daily chart, just kind of pull back to the midline here. We talk about ETFs, kind of go to the edge of the band, pull back, edge of the band, pull back. So, floating around the midline. So if we see some kind of setup, maybe you could take it at the prior day's low marked right here. So you can see that the prior day's low, and kind of the price oscillated around before that. And so just saw lower low, lower high, lower low, and then a nice sideways for an hour. I really love just a sideways channel, so you could be shorting anywhere in here. Stop right there, 25 cents max, so risk 400 shares on $1, and if you hold to the end of the day, risking a quarter, that's a 6 to 1. So something that's definitely within my price range with an intraday downtrend, nice sideways consolidation. There's volume on these down moves, and you could add on these pops, or add on all these pops below. Add. Maybe you add and you get stopped out here, but anyway, definitely going to trade. Tesco, Tractor Supply. So this is, I guess we're saying, this did have this gap down. So big picture is I'm calling this a downtrend. At least intermediately we're making lower highs, lower lows. We did have this gap that kind of went up, but since then trending back down. Recent trade action is just kind of riding the Keltner band down. So, we've had a few closes outside of Keltner, but just because of that doesn't mean you can't go down. Just once again, so open up, broke the prior day's low, lower high, lower high. So there's your intraday downtrend. We haven't reached the ATR measured move yet. We talk about $3, $3. So we're down $1. You could risk right here on this pop 25 cents VWAP, and if you got out here, another 6 to 1. So just a couple trades, but man, like all it takes, dude. You're talking one trade a day, $250 a day. It's $1,000 a week. Like, and I'd be pretty happy starting out, making fucking $1,000 a week. But just the biggest points you talked about, just like recognizing that when I am successful and I have winning days and I have winning trades, and that I do get the big head. I do know that, and so just kind of check myself before I wreck myself before each open, especially when I have a string of good trading days. So I mean, like realistically, I've only been negative, one day in the past 7 days, which is pretty big turnaround from where I had started at. Especially like just jumping right back off the demo, or from off the demo right back on it. And so, that number one, obviously on Celgene Day, yeah, dude, I definitely had a fucking big head, and thanks for calling me on that. Chasing the gap up, go ups, and opening spikes, and that's why my 3 biggest things are, focusing on the big picture, make sure I have a real entry, making sure there's enough room left, and to add to that is, make sure I'm not chasing. So those are, if I can add that to like a 4th thing that kind of focusing on during the day. And just stick to the process every day. Like clearly my process has an edge. If I follow it, I will make money. So as you said earlier. So anyway, dude, hope you're not working too hard. And yeah, I'm gonna be back in the States in like 6 weeks. If you're like serious about coming to hang out in Tennessee, man, let me know.